Juan at 6:32 p.m. Before we start on the evocation, can we please stand up? And I'd like to give a moment of silence for all the first responders and all the victims that lost their lives in 9/11. Moment of silence, please. Thank you. Mr. Orjona, can you lead us in the invocation? Amen. May we face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, under public comments, we have Mr. Rick Ramirez.
Audience. On the presentation, we have a mixed fit performance by Marlena Bustamante. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here. She's got another commitment. However, this lady, she's a PSJ graduate. She met with us, the mayor and myself, last week. She's a 2010 graduate. She went to University of Dallas in Irvine, where she got her business degree, and then after that, she went to San Marcos, Texas, for her graduate school. One of the things she's doing, she's a certified personal trainer. What she wants to do, she wants to give back to the community, in the sense that provide some sort of personal training to the adults community. And this is going to be done through the Parks and Recreation, where she's going to volunteer her time once a week, maybe for about an hour. So whoever's interested in going out to the park with her on an hour, más o menos, maybe an hour and a half, on some personal training, fitness training, and stuff like that, the adult community is welcome to go out and join her for this. So this is for Ms. Marilena Bustamante. Kind of hard to say her name, Marlena Bustamante. So it's one of the things that is coming to, she's willing to give back to the community.
And she's looking at, I believe she wants to start the first Wednesday of October. So we're looking from 6:30 to 7:30. And that's pretty much, we'll be putting it on our Facebook page and all the social media, just to inform the citizens in reference to this service she wants to offer.
It'll start for maybe for about a month, 2 months, and if people are interested, she'll continue with that. And obviously, if there's not a interest on that, well, then she'll take a different approach. However, it's going to be available to the community. We'll blast it on the social media, like the mayor's saying, but it'll be available through Parks and Recreation Department, and it'll be free of charge. Okay. On the next item on the presentation, departmental reports. Tonight we have Department of Planning and Zoning, Department of Parks and Recreation, San Juan Memorial Library, and the Department of Sanitation. But before we continue with this, I'd like to bring Chief over so he can give us an update on the storm that is approaching us, and the sandbags distribution and locations and the times that we have available.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners.
Good afternoon, sir.
Brief rundown, we're currently at a level 3 in preparedness for this tropical wave that's brewing out there in the Caribbean. We're currently pretty much a lot of uncertainty where it's going to hit, but it is going to bring us a good amount of rain. So we started our sandbag distribution today. We started at the recycling, and we had 2 locations, another one at Mayfield Park. Tomorrow we have another webinar with the county along with the state to see if we'll be activating our EOC and getting prepared. The subdivision that the gentleman was talking about, I did go out there, Sun Valley Estates on Cesar and Sam Houston.
Right.
We did take care of the issue. The water's flowing. The retaining pond wasn't to capacity, so we unplugged some of the inlets and started discharging the water into the pond, or the retaining pond.
And when was this, Chief?
Today.
Today?
Yeah, this afternoon, sir. We took care of that issue, and of course, we work with what we have, and we try to make it a priority in cleaning the drains and the inlets. We did have a lot of construction during these past couple of months, and some of these streets, inlets might have picked up some debris, but we're currently working on that to make sure everything flows. But the sandbag distribution will continue tomorrow. Hopefully, probably get another load of sand and give out whatever we can, then we'll play it by ear from here till the prediction of Thursday evening to Friday morning, and we'll take it from there.
Now for tomorrow, what are the times for these?
The times for tomorrow's, we were going to start early today, but we had a lot of ceremonies for the 9/11.
Exactly.
So we started after lunch from 1 to 6. Tomorrow we should start from 9 to 6. We have at the recycling location, you can pretty much pick up the bags that are ready to go, or you can make your own bags. We have that on the outside parking lot of Memorial Park.
Let me
Municipal
ask you
Park.
this, Chief.
Yes, sir.
How about the pumps? Are they ready to go as far as?
Everything's ready to go. We have our Humvees ready to go. PD's going to let us utilize our Humvees in case we need to evacuate any people. We're ready to go. The pumps, good to go also. Everything's ready to go. It's just a matter of waiting, preparing for the worst and hoping for the best, but we're good.
Thank you so much. Any other questions for?
If, some of these areas that flood, most of the time we have traffic that's just passing. Are we going to block any of these streets if they get flooded? It's fine for residents, but sometimes they get flooded and they're to an edge, and then we got other people just driving through,
Making it worse.
and creating waves.
I think one of the subdivisions, sir, that got by me was this one, the Sun. Because everything else, as of 3:30 in the morning, we've got like about, from 3:30 till about 6 this morning, we got like about a little over inch and a half. Las Flores and everything, Chaparrales flowed perfect, but I never checked Sun Valley, but like I said, we addressed it. Should there be any flooding on these roadways, we'll make an attempt to close them down. We'll close them down.
Go ahead, sir. Chief, as far as sandbags, how many sandbags can they pick up?
We're giving 4 to residents and 6 for businesses.
How do
And
you
we're-
determine the amount?
How?
Yes.
A lot of, what we're getting today, what was happening was that we're getting people picking up over here and then coming to the south side. So tomorrow we have plans where we'll be utilizing our communication and letting them know on the vehicles that are coming through over here, through the recycling and then coming over here. We pretty much just take their word for it as far as businesses, but for picking up the sandbags, you have to have a driver's license for utility, water bill.
Right, but as far as the amount, 4 bags, how do we determine?
That's pretty much
Four bags.
what's been standard, but if you all want to increase it, I don't see a problem with that. If, a lot of times they'll explain to us that they have, a pretty big home or whatever, so we'll take into consideration and pass them an extra 2.
Okay, so they can.
Yes, sir.
There's exceptions. to
Correct.
it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, just making sure, yeah, because I know Edinburgh's giving out, I believe, 12.
Yes.
Yeah, no, okay.
Well,
No, and if they got 2 doors,
Yeah.
4 sandbags, you need to use like 3, or sometimes they want to block the garage because the garage is where it's lower, and they need at least 6 or 8,
No, we can increase it. There's no problem with that. Well, I'll let them know tomorrow morning when they start distribution that we'll be increasing to 6 or 8, whatever you all
Yeah,
want.
you can be at 4, but if you, as the customer requests this as an
Correct.
additional 2 or 3,
Yes, sir. We can do that. No problem. Yes. Any other questions? If not, we'll move on. Under public hearing ordinance, under letter A, hold the second public hearing on adopting the proposed tax rate and levy for the city of San Juan, Texas for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2018.
You got one more presentation.
Oh, one more presentation.
All this.
Parts. Speak up.
But we have a couple of, Mayor, good evening, Commission. We have a couple of presentations under our report tonight that some individuals that we'd like to recognize that have represented us very well throughout the year and mainly throughout the summer. City of San Juan is part of the Texas Amateur Athletic Federation, TAF. And through that, we give out a local male and female athlete of the year. Tonight, it's a pleasure to recognize these 2 outstanding individuals who have been a part of our programs and had a really good year this year and represented the city very well. First of all, I'd like to call up Mia Sosa. Mia, for the last 5 years, has participated in youth soccer, youth volleyball, youth basketball, cross-country, and softball. She's currently a 6th grader at Audie Murphy Middle School. This summer, Mia won 2 silver medals at the Taft Region Track Meet, which was held here in FAR, and that included athletes from Laredo all the way to Brownsville. And she also won a bronze in the 4x100 meter relay and qualified for those 3 events to the State Games of Texas held in College Station. So without further ado, I'd like to congratulate our female athlete of the year, Mia Sosa. Next is our male athlete of the year. Miguel Flores is a 2-year letterman on the Bear football team. He's also a 2-year letterman in track and a 2-year letterman in baseball. He's also our district and area champion in the 200 meter dash. here for PSJ High. This summer, Miguel won 3 gold medals at the Taft Region 2 track and field meet here in FAR. Those golds were in the 4x100 meter relay, the 4x400 meter relay, and the 200 meter relay. At the Taft Games of Texas at the state, he was part of the team that won silver in the 4x400 meter relay. So again, without further ado, I'd like to present our local male athlete of the year, Miguel Flores. Miguel, Mia, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, guys.
I know I kind of put him on the spot, but we're going to get him up here for a picture. Go ahead and come up here.
Big smile, big smile. 1, 2.
And one last thing before we here, I thought it was important to recognize the Texas Amateur Athletic Federation is made up of several regions throughout the state. And we're very fortunate here in the city of San Juan to, our recreation supervisor is the local, or the Region 2, right? We're Region 2 director for our entire region, from Laredo down to Brownsville. Help spearhead bringing the Games of Texas to the McAllen area, to the Valley. And next week, we'll be going to Lake Jackson and trying to get them back to the Valley in about 3 more years. But he's done an excellent job for us here in the short time he's been with us, and a great job for the region. And this year, TAF recognized the region as the, they did it in a belt. But we're the regional champions. We're the highly most recognized region in the state. And Ramiro's the director of the region. So I'd like to recognize him and congratulate him on behalf of the city of San Juan and the Parks and Recreation Department. Our numbers did one of the best summers that we've had here in San Juan. And I think having the regional director helps us to have a little bit of insight on that. But he's doing a great job, and we've given great exposure to the region. So I'd just like to congratulate Mr. Ramiro Moreno for this accomplishment.
It's an entire region effort, so I just try and coordinate everybody, to get out here. San Juan's always been a part of it, even though I come from another entity, but it's a great city to work for, to work with, great supervisor here, and also Mr. Guajardo is also a great supervisor, my immediate supervisor. And thank you, Ben, once again, for allowing me to come work here for City of San Juan.
Congratulations, sir. Picture? Picture? Hey, you got to put it on. You got to put it on. Put it on, buddy.
Okay, y'all ready? Let's see it. Put it up forward. Enfrente. 1, 2. One more.
The next item, on the public hearing ordinances, hold a second public hearing on adopting the proposed tax rate and levy for the city of San Juan, Texas for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2018, and ending September 30th, 2019. Again, this is the second reading. We brought it back before before you guys on the last meeting, where we're holding the tax rate at .6993. We're not increasing or lowering, so we're bringing it back as the second reading.
Good evening, Mayor, Commission.
Good evening, sir.
On Tuesday, August 14, 2018, the City Commission voted for the approval to the proposed tax rate of .6993 for fiscal year October 1st, 2018 through September 30th, 2019, and scheduled two required public hearings on August 28th and September 11th. The proposed tax rate is the same as last year. However, in accordance to the property tax law, in the proposed tax rate of .6993 exceeds the effective tax rate of .6988, a rollback tax rate of .7480. Therefore, two public hearings on the proposed tax rate will be required before the City Commission to adopt the tax rate ordinance.
This time, I'm going to go ahead and open it up at 6:54 p.m. Is there anyone here for or against? For or against?
Ramirez. I just want to repeat what I said on the previous meeting for the public hearing. I'm for keeping our tax rate, but as I mentioned before, I want to see the numbers for next year of hiring and lowering. As you all know, and there's always, in every city, they give us the numbers for percentage as how much we would cover and what would be our outcome of the tax rate. So again, I just want to repeat, like I mentioned, that not everybody shares the same walk of life or the same income that comes into the household. So we also need to be able to balance our budgets whenever we have them come forward to the commission when we vote on them. There's several items that I've seen before that not all the time are necessary, and even on DDC, like there was one a couple of minutes ago, not everything has to be approved immediately or just jump to it. You have to ask more questions if it's actually feasible, or is it probable, or there's reasons enough to approve those budgets, because every one of those funds belongs to these people who are here. And you have to be able to manage and balance those, because there's a lot of projects going on, whether it's the streets or even the collective bargaining. Collective bargaining is going to throw us off by a lot of amount, even 50,000 for the fire department. So there's a lot of things that are coming up so that you have to think about when it comes down to budget and tax rate. And we need to be able to manage this correctly, because that's what your position as leaders is, to be able to balance and manage our money and our funds. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else for or against? Any questions from the members of the commission?
I want to say is that, we're keeping the same tax rate, it's good. I guess we would always want to lower it and give a break to our taxpayers, but we know that we have a lot of need on streets, gutters, and flooding that we need to address, and that's why staying on where we are, we can continue to try to budget and keep some money so we can address those problems that we have, and hopefully in the future we can get them addressed where we won't have so much flooding in our city,
Any other comment? If not, I'm going to go ahead and close this at 6:56 p.m. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
The next item, Mayor Commissioners, discussion and possible action on all of the following matters. Consider authorizing the City of San Juan, Texas to accept a grant application for funding of the Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Response Safer Grant awarded for the fiscal year 2017. As you recall, the last meeting, Hollis, Mr. Rolich presented the Safer Grant, and now what we're doing is accepting the actual grant.
Questions at this time? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you so much, Mr. Hollis.
The next item, discussion and possible action to authorize the mayor to execute the interlocal contract between the City of San Juan and the Lower Rio Grande Valley Development Council for the Regional Solid Waste Grant Program. Ms. Salinas, I know there's another grant here before you that we were awarded this couple of weeks ago on the 2017 fiscal year for the Lower Rio Grande Valley. Ms. Salinas?
Good evening, Mayor Commissioners. Back in December 2017, the Commission authorized a resolution approve resolution to authorize staff to submit a solid waste grant application to the Lower Rio Grande Development Council. We have received that interlocal agreement for that reimbursement agreement, and that is what we're presenting to you today. This is for the purchase of 3 30-yard roll-off containers for the sanitation department that will be used for not only brush collection, but for also citywide cleanups like tire roundups and debris removal. And we'll have to keep count of all that and report it to the Lower Rio Grande Development Council on a quarterly basis through the assistance of our grants coordinator.
Is there any questions for Mr. Salinas at this time?
If I may?
Go ahead,
It
sir.
was only 3, not 10? It
It's only 3.
was only 3. Okay, and as far as rollouts, how many do we have right now?
Sir, I really don't know that count. I know the one I saw today has a 42 on the side of it. I don't think we have that many. I think we have roughly about 18 or 19 or so. But I know they're all out right now in the field rented. That's one of the things we're having problems keeping up with demand right now. There's a lot of construction and remodeling going on, and we're having some difficulties keeping up with demand. At the same time, we only have 2 roll-off trucks, so we keep them pretty busy. Because besides just removing the roll-off containers for construction, we also use them to haul brush to the landfill, so we don't have to send the brush trucks all the way out there, so they can continue to collect brush at the city.
So if they're all out and new construction is gonna take place, what happens then?
We try to schedule the next one that comes up right away, and we did advise the customer that we do have a waiting list, and as soon as that waiting list comes available, we try to move. We do have some customers, like the school district, that keeps them sometimes for 16 weeks at a time. And I mean, we appreciate the revenue because we know that's secured, but we do fall behind on some of the smaller customers that are doing remodeling at their house and that kind of stuff. But we do try to fill the orders as quickly as possible.
Third-party vendors can come in and provide?
Not according to our ordinance, correct. And we have been noticing Waste
Yes.
Management.
Yes.
We have been sending them letters and notifying them that they have 10 days to remove the container, or we will remove it for them and store it and charge them a fee for, yes.
Any other questions?
On the next director's report, for next time, can we get an actual number of containers?
Yes, sir. We'll do that.
Is there a motion to approve?
So move. Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item, consider authorizing city manager to enter into interlocal agreement with the city of Westlaco for animal shelter professional services. As you may recall, we currently have a contract with the Palm Valley Animal Shelter. However, the fees have been increasing over the past few years, that this year alone, as we're working on our budget, we saw that the fee increased to $215,000, and it's just that it's gonna go higher than that. So we reached out to the previous provider that we were doing services with, which is the city of Westlaco, and one of the things that they said, yeah, it is not indefinite as many animals as you want or can. However, it's on a per animal that they're charging us, 55 and 45 for dead animals. We did the math according to what we're taking over to the Palm Valley, and if we do this, we'll have a savings of about roughly 30 to 35, maybe even 40,000 a year savings. So what we're putting on our budget for this fiscal year for consideration is at 185 and not 215,000.
Okay, 215 or 250?
No, 215.
Okay, 215. Okay. And the savings, you said what, 40?
It's about 30 to 35. It's just an estimated savings.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Arjona? at
Most of
this
these
time?
animals, are they deceased or they're animals that are still alive?
Live animals, they're gonna charge us a rate of $55 an animal, and the ones that are dead is gonna be the 45.
Have we talked to Memorial Funeral Home on the deceased, because they do a cremation for deceased animals? And I'm just saying that, you know, we might ask them what's the fee on deceased animals, and then what they can do, because if they're local and they can provide that service at a better price, we might look at it. Or at least they think that we consider them, you know.
All those,
there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
The next item on the contractual resolutions, consider amending the resolution authorizing the city of San Juan to submit an application for funding to the Office of the Governor, Homeland Security Division for Hidalgo 2017 Operation Stone Garden Project. Mr. Cáceres is here.
Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners. What I'm bringing in front of you today is a resolution that we had already passed in July 10th of this year. Since the submission of the application, the governing body came back to us saying that we needed to amend the operational period of the resolution. The operational period used to be, or was, January 1st of 2018 to August 31st of 2019. They wanted it amended to April 1st of 2018 to May 31st of 2019. And that's, everything else stays the same. The amount is being awarded to us, it stays the same. The only thing, it was just the operational period,
What was the amount awarded?
80,000.
Any questions for Mr. Cáceres?
Not for Mr. Cáceres, but legal counsel, do we have to rescind the previous vote? If it had already been approved? Or no?
It was approved, and now they're just coming back with a modification?
Right, with the
Yes.
modification.
I guess if we can have a motion to approve the amendment or the modification of the operational period?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
The next item, consider authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement between the PSJ Independent School District and the City of San Juan Police Department. Mr. Cáceres.
This is the interlocal agreement with the PSH School District, ISD. The agreement will give us an additional 2 officers for this coming fiscal year. The school will be paying their wages for the term of the contract for the whole year, for a total of 3 officers. We were always given 1 officer every year. This year, they're adding another 2 for a total of 3.
Questions?
And it's just the wage, or is it fringe also?
The amount being offered by the school district will cover a lot of the fringes that's associated with the employment of the next 2 officers. It's not a total coverage, right, Leroy? Yeah, it's not a total coverage, but it is almost a total coverage of the fringes and wages for the officers.
Right. And those officers can be utilized after, like, when they're not.
They'll be doing patrol duties after the school year ends.
Okay, good.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
On the next
Thank you.
item, Mayor Commissioners, we have those 3 resolutions. I'd like to, if I may, skip to item E, as that should be in the order. These 3 separate items would authorize 3 related resolutions by the city. The first one is the Plan of Finance Resolution, which is item D. On this one, it will approve the presentation by Mr. Chris Vela and authorize city staff and city financial advisor, the engineers and the bond council to make all necessary preparations for the issuance of the revenue bonds to construct improvements to the city water works and the sewer system. The other 2 resolutions, which is C and D, would authorize the city staff and the city financial advisor, again, the engineers and the bond council, to prepare the applications to the Texas Water Development Board for the sale of the revenue bonds at a very favorable interest rate, and that's our hope and our goal. These resolutions do not obligate the city to issue any debt at this time, but only authorize the city to move forward with the preliminary applications for the financial assistance in accordance with the state law. So if we can have Mr. Chris Vela give us a presentation on the Plan of Finance on item D, and then we'll go back, item E, and then we can go to C and D.
Mayor, the City Commission, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Chris Vela with Hilltop Securities, financial advisors to the City of San Juan. First of all, does everyone have a copy of the presentation? If not, I have extra copies here.
Yes, on the back.
Okay. Going to page 2, which is the plan of finance, the city of San Juan intends to apply for financial assistance to the Texas Water Development Board. The city is contemplating the following projects: funding in the amount of not to exceed $9.4 million under the Clean Water State Revolving Fund, program to fund a rehabilitation of the existing wastewater treatment plant, and funding an amount not to exceed $4,300,000 under the Clean Water State Revolving Fund to fund the rehabilitation of lift stations and force mains. The city would sell waterworks and sewer system first lien revenue bonds to the Texas Water Development Board. The city would offer a pledge of a first lien on the net revenues of the waterworks and sewer system as sufficient security for the repayment of the debt. No utility rate impact or negative debt payment coverage implications are projected by this issuance. The city would take advantage of the Texas Water Development Board Clean State Revolving Fund equivalency subsidy of a 1.65%. The city would request 30% loan forgiveness for both projects as per the draft Clean Water State Revolving Fund fiscal year intended use plan disadvantaged community. The next page, which is page 3, gets you the bond buyer's revenue bond index with the current rate of 449, the 20-year average of 493, the 20-year max, which was a 648, and the 20-year minimum of a 298. Page 4 is a summary statistics, the estimated subsidized interest rate, the first interest payment date, the final maturity, average annual debt service, and the coverage on the bonds as net revenues compared to total debt service. Assumes a BAA-rated interest rate less 165 equivalency subsidy as of 9/7, subject to change at any time. Additional bonds test is 125 net revenues over the average annual debt service of the parity bonds, water and sewer revenue bonds only. Based on the pro forma calculations in the following slide, the additional test is satisfied. The next page is the cash flows, starting on your left. On column B, we're talking about the net revenues, the outstanding water and sewer bonds, the outstanding geo-backed water bonds and sewer bonds, the total, the debt service on the 9.4, the debt service on the 4.3. Column L is the total new estimated water and sewer debt service, the surplus cash flow after the payment of the debt, the coverage on all debt, and then the coverage on all water and sewer debt. On page 6, the tentative schedule of events. Commission approves resolutions requesting financial assistance. Deadline to submit financial assistance application to the Water Development Board for both Clean Water State Revolving Fund is on October the 5th. And then on the first or second quarter of 19, the Water Development Board approves financial assistance application. City Commission approves an ordinance authorizing the issuance of bonds and loan forgiveness agreements with the TWDB if grant funding is available. Second and third quarter financial assistance funding through the bonds and potential loan forgiveness of grants. Any questions?
Questions? No? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So move. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much.
As it was discussed already in a few minutes ago, consideration approval of a resolution requesting financial assistance from the Texas Water Development Board in the principal amount of $9.4 million for construction, various public improvements for the city utility system, authorizing the city's financial advisor, again, bond counsel, engineers, to coordinate the submission of an application to the Texas Water Development Board and other matters in connection therewith. Again, this is only to submit the application. It doesn't commit the city to anything. It's just for submitting the application, and hopefully we can be ranked. We'll get approval.
Basically the process, what you're
Yes, sir.
saying. Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item D, consideration approval of a resolution requesting financial assistance from the Texas Water Development Board in the principal amount of $4.3 million for constructing various public improvements to the city utility system and authorizing the city's financial advisors, bond counsel, engineers to coordinate the submission of an application to the Texas Water Development Board and other matters in connection therewith.
So move. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Under consent agenda, consider adoption of an ordinance in the second reading for a conditional use permit to operate a portable food concession stand at the parking lot located at 1101 East FM 495, legally described at the west 440 feet of the 495 south feet of Lot 5, Block 39, Alamo Land and Sugar Company subdivision, and requested by Javier Leal. And also, we have another one, consider adoption of an ordinance in the second reading for the conditional use permit for the sale of alcoholic beverages for on-premise consumption at Prince Place, located 202 West Business, 83, legally described the west 125 feet of the east 605 feet of Park Lot subdivision, as requested by Jose Marcos Montalvo.
This time, is there anything we need to amend or modify under consent agenda? If not, is there a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Under executive session, the San Juan City Commission will convene an executive session according with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Vernon's Texas statutes and codes annotated Government Code, Chapter 551. Number 1, pursuant to Section 551.074, personnel matters, discuss the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duty, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, Director of Information Technology, and Director of Planning and Zoning.
Is there a motion to enter executive session?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We will be going in executive session at 7:13 PM. We're back from executive session at 7:24 PM. Is there a motion to reconvene?
So moved. Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Go ahead, Mr. Juan.
Yes, Mayor, Commissioners, on the IT Director of Information Technology, I'm recommending for your consideration to hire Mr. Hugo Perales.
Make a motion on the recommendation of the city manager.
Second.
And for the, thank you, for the Director of Planning and Zoning, I'm making a recommendation to hire Mr. Robert Escobar.
The motion, put both of them on the recommendation of the city manager.
So there's been a motion, there's been a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
This meeting has been adjourned at 7:25 PM. Thank you.